I am going to tell my last story that is, let's see, what time we got? I have all kinds of stories up here. I just like to. So most of you know, in 2009, I volunteered to go to Iraq, and I was there for a deployment there. And if my Army friends were here, I'd say, yeah, it was just 4 months. Yeah, it was just 4 months. They're going, hey, we go for 15 months. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you joined the wrong group. But I went for 4 months and was the senior chaplain at a hospital there and saw all kinds of amazing things and people. And I wrote, some of you read it, and some of you maybe showed up, and when I got back, we were all at an auditorium somewhere up here. I don't know if you come to see me, but we talked about what happened there. So I am getting ready to leave Iraq and packing up, and just, as you can imagine, going home, and I'm just thinking of my wife and thinking of all the ways, never mind. So I'm thinking, and so I'm ready to go home, and so get on what's called the Freedom Bird, they call it. It's just a chartered airline, World Airways, that's set on the side, to go home. And we made several stops and to pick up people along the way. But we left Iraq and Italy and then Germany, and I think I saw what are those things, those tripods, those things in Egypt, what are those called? Anyway, yeah, so I saw those for a second. And so we're in the air over the Pacific, and I'm thinking, man, what, I've just been through an amazing time. And I just couldn't help but think of just about a month before that. And I'm sitting on a plane just in my Walter Mitty world thinking of these things and thinking of Easter Sunday, just a month before that, where we had 3 or 4 people come into our emergency room. And they had been hit by an IED, and their vehicle had blown up. It actually was a different kind of bomb. I forgot the acronym now, but it pierced the armored plating and went through, and it's designed to decapitate or take off a limb or something like that. And so in it came, and so I'm in the emergency room when they all come in, and the first person I talk to is just this 98-pound medic. She said, "What's happened to my squad leader? What's happened to my squad leader?" And she goes, "I tried to save him. I tried to save him." She had climbed back into the vehicle, half blind, her arm broken, and reached into the cavity and pinched the femoral artery closed with her fingers. But there's no point. The doctor said, "But you can't hold that. We can't even hold that. That's because when you let it go, it goes back up into the groin and you can't." And so she lost her sergeant. She said, "I tried to save him." So we put her under for her surgery and came to the next guy. I'm thinking about all this on the plane. And came to Sergeant Crawford. That's his real name. It's not in the book back there that I write about Heroes Highway. That Heroes Highway describes the hospital landing pad that was called Heroes Highway. And so he comes in the Heroes Highway, and he says to me, I mean, you can imagine, I'm sort of shook up right after I heard this story and saw this. And he says to me, "Oh, hi, Chaplain." He said, he's not too badly hurt. He said, "Can I have a Bible? I lost my Bible in the explosion." And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I'll go get you a Bible. If I can get out of this emergency room mess for just a minute, I'll go get you a Bible, right? We think that way sometimes. Us, especially as guys, we like, what can we do rather than to say, what can we be? So I said, "Yeah, I can get you a Bible." And I come back with a Bible, and he said, and just one more thing, he said, "Can you pray with me?" Bible, prayer, chaplain. "Yeah, I can do that." I said, "But this is what I ask," and I ask a lot of people in the hospital this, because I don't want to assume that I know what you want to pray for. I assume a lot of hospice patients want to pray that they'll be healed, but they don't. He said, "I want you to pray for the people that killed my sergeant. And then I said, part of the chaplain language I was taught, what would that prayer sound like? Because again, I'm wanting him to say it. He said, you know, that prayer that Jesus prayed on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He said, I want you to pray that they'll be forgiven, and I also want you to pray that they will eventually know what they've done and understand that it's wrong and that we're here to help. Well, that's a whole political question too, but he just wanted them to know that he himself was a good guy and he wanted to help. So I remember doing this, like patting your pockets. Like, did I forget something? Is my pen around here? Is my glasses? What I forgot were the words for a moment. But I bowed and I said my prayer. And as I did, I remembered when I closed my eyes, sometimes you can see things in the dark better than, and I just saw that whole moment of that bomb going off and that whole explosion and that loss and just thinking what a better world this could be if people started with prayers like this Sergeant Crawford did. Like I said, moved by some terrific experiences. And then I hear the announcement. All right, put your trays up and your seats up and prepare for landing, and we'll be around one more time to get the garbage. And I'm thinking, oh, yay, Baltimore. That's where I'm going to land first, and then I'm off to Sacramento, and wow, great reunion. And so we are, and all through the flight, I'm hearing all kinds of voices around me. I'm hearing this one married lady kind of flirt with people she shouldn't be flirting with, and I hear some people cursing about things and all kinds of things I'm hearing. And so, but we're coming into Baltimore on Cinco de Mayo. Such a beautiful day it was. And then our landing gear hit rather hard, I think. But, don't take your flight advice from a chaplain. But when it hit the second time hard and it hit the third time hard and we started porpoising like this in the air, and eyewitnesses would say they thought we were going to flip, and the accident report would say we hit the ground at 3.2 Gs. People were yelling, "Get a hold of it! Get a hold of it!" Two planes, one of a delivery plane in, I can never think of the delivery service, DHL or something like that, flipped in doing the same maneuver, flipped in Japan just the year before. I researched all this for the book. And so this pilot did what he's supposed to do, what he was trained to do, rather than the other pilots. He took us back in the air. And I'm like, I do not want to be up here. Why can't you put this thing on the ground? In fact, the accident report would say that we broke the spar of the aircraft. The spar, for probably every one of you needs to know, is the backbone of the aircraft. You cannot fly with a broken spar, but we did. And we went back up for 20 minutes. We emptied all the fuel. People were crying, praying, and cursing. But that was me. And we came back for 20 minutes. Emergency vehicles were called. I've seen it on YouTube. You can find the accident on YouTube. You can find the accident report. You can find all the kinds of things that went wrong with that aircraft that shouldn't have been back up in the air. And we came back around in 20 minutes, landed that plane as smooth as glass. People were like, "Chaplain, I thought we were going to die in Iraq, but not in Baltimore." And by the way, if you ever fly into Baltimore, just mention to the pilot, as I did 3 days ago, "Is that DC-10 still around here?" "You were on that?" That's all I said, I promise. I said, "Does that DC-10?" He said, "Were you on that?" I said, "Yes, sir," and told him the story as quickly as I could. But up there in the air, I forgot to tell you, I prayed. I go, well, God, I'd sure like to live, but let's just do a quick life review. So, how's everything? God's saying, like, how you feel like everything's settled? Yes, I think it's all settled, God. I think everything's cool. I think, my kids are grown and I feel like I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Except for turn off your phone. That's what he said. I forgot I have a great speech about phones. Do you know, let me just ask you, for those of you who don't know, was that a boy phone or a girl phone? It was a boy phone, and I'll tell you why I know. If your phones ring, ladies, it's like, oh, how rude. Somebody around me is, oh, that's my phone. And then it rings 2 or 3 times. And then you're looking through the slots and you finally find it and you turn it off about the 6th ring. So if it rings 6 times, it's a lady's phone. If it rings once, it's a guy, because we know right where our phone is and it's boom. We know where all the buttons are. It's off. The last speech I gave, it was a girl phone. So anyway. Well, God said, except, no, I don't hear God in my pocket. I mean, that's another story too. How do you hear the voice of God? But I felt saying, except there's one thing. And he reminded me of a colleague I'd had. This colleague that I had known when I was stationed in Turkey. His name is Greg. And Greg and I thought we were best friends, and then suddenly we weren't. It's one of those kind of things. And he said some things maybe to people he shouldn't have said, and I ended up getting, I'm just going to tell you, I got a bad report card. So some things were misconstrued. I don't know. I'm not going to go into the why, right? But probably what happened there meant that I was going to be passed over for a promotion on active duty. And if you have military experience, you know that it's up or out. You can't just stay captain your whole career, which I was just really pleased to do, because the captains got to go to the bomb dumps, and the colonels had to tell you to go to the bomb dumps. So, but anyway, so I sort of blamed him. Now, I came all right. I landed on my feet. I became a hospital chaplain again. I left here at Patrick in 2002. And I got off active duty, and I don't know, maybe there's a connection here. April Fool's Day, but I got off active duty then and went into the Guard for the next 20 years and had a great time. But I still always had it against my friend after that experience on the plane. And I thought, well, there's just one thing to do. I'm going to go find him, and I'm going to tell him what a rat he was, and I'm going to tell him he needs to ask me for forgiveness. Okay, I'm not exaggerating a lot. I mean, a little bit. But I just need to find him. I just need to settle this. I need to say what happened in my review, because we separated to different assignments, so I never got the chance to do anything with him. So I was out here speaking in Florida, and I found out he had a church over there in Tampa, and I drove over there, and I walked into his office, all because of Sergeant Crawford. All because of what he said on me on the battlefield or on the hospital. And I said to him, first I sent him an email, said, could I come by? And I got this suspicious look, yeah, sure, I guess, maybe, sure, I guess. And so I walked into his office and I sat down. And suddenly we were talking about our families and our daughters and our things and things. This is like going a little too well. I don't like this. But finally he said, well, what's up? What brings you here? And I said, well, I didn't like the way we left things. That's all I said. I didn't like the way we left things. And then he said to me, see, girl phone. Then he said to me, well, I hope you can forgive me for whatever I did. He said, I don't have a great memory. And I remembered that about him, actually. He said, I don't really know. Can't really say a lot about what happened back there, but whatever it was, if something we didn't, I hope you'll forgive me. And then I said, I think it was me. It didn't sound like me. And then I said, well, I hope you'll forgive me. What? That's not what I came here to say. But that's what came out. That's what came out. All because of Sergeant Crawford. So when I look at the F words I live by of faith and fun and forgiveness, and I call it flight, F for travel, the most important one I live with is forgiveness.